We had a group of students come to us and share with us a need that they saw within our campus community. And it was a need for food. We had students that didn't have enough money to purchase groceries each month. So those students got together and they've put together a pantry. We call it our Leopard Pantry. And it is a free food bank for our Temple College students. We were looking for donations and going out to the community, and we got a terrific response, but we knew that we would need to be able to keep that going over time, and we needed a sustaining donor that would continue to bring food to the pantry so we'd have it available. And it was actually our ADN student organization who stepped forward and said, hey, we've been donating to a pantry, why not shift the focus? And they started bringing food items to the pantry for us. Well, they also have a community service component where they're able to get 2 hours of community service for donated food. So it's every 50 cans or every 25 cans is an hour of community service for them. And we started getting donations of 75, 80, 100 cans per student. And we were saying, you know, you're only allowed to get the 50 can limit and the 2 hour limit. And they were saying, no, this is just such a good program. We want to give more. And so our ADN students have just been tremendous in keeping that pantry packed. We have an average weekly visitor count of about 69 students that come to the pantry. That's a lot of people needing food. And they come in, they bring a shopping bag, they're able to go through, get snacks, get baby items, get hygiene items. And it really, again, was our ADN students that came to us and said, you know, it isn't just food. If we want them to live a healthy lifestyle, we want them to have all those things that would make for a healthy lifestyle. So we want them to have toiletries, and we want them to have cleaning products, and we want them to have baby formula and diapers, and all of those things that keep a person going so that they can focus and complete their education. So we, at this point, completely rely on our ADN students to resupply the pantry for us and keep it active so that the others can use it. I think my favorite thing is when I see a student with a shopping bag walk in the door and an ADN student walk in with food that they're ready to give. And I think you guys could just meet in the middle and share. And essentially that's what's happening. We've got students that are sharing, and they're just the pantry's the middle ground. So we're really grateful for that program and the way that our students have chosen to take care of each other. I know in talking with nursing faculty that we've got students that are in the nursing program that have used the pantry, and we've got them donating 1 month and using another month. And that's a pretty special story that they can see it from both sides. The other thing our ADN students have done for us, which has been tremendous, is they caught wind of the Leopard Loan Program, and the way that they heard about that was because they themselves were using it. And that is just a crisis loan that we provide to our students. It offers them a no interest way to get money really quickly without credit checks and going through banks and all that sort of thing, and gets them whatever they're needing paid for so that they can continue their education. So if it's a housing bill or an electric bill, or if it's a book or scrubs or tools that they need for their job that they can't afford at the time that they need it, we go ahead and purchase those products for them, and they pay us back by the end of the semester, and we're able to kind of keep those as revolving loans to those students. So we keep them in school and get them to completion. So our ADN students, when they start their program, they have drug testing and vaccinations and all kinds of things that they have to do that require an upfront cost, and they may not be in a position to have those funds. And so we had a number of them using us for that, and they were using the Leopard Loan Program. We had a number of them that were just coming to us for tuition dollars and needing to get into school and get started and be able to have an upfront infusion before their financial aid kicked in. So I think in talking to each other, they were hearing about the Leopard Loan Program. And as the ADN student organization sat down each year and said, okay, we've done fundraising and we've done projects, and what are we going to do with the funds that we've raised? And they have, for the last 2 years, donated in the thousands of dollars to our Leopard Loan Program. And that money is brought right back into the Leopard Loan Program, and I can promise you the day that it comes in is the day that it goes back out. We're at a position right now where we're having to turn down people that need Leopard loans because all of our funds are out. That we're doing over $100,000 a year in loans, and it's because of the donations that folks give that we're able to just continually recycle those funds. So our ADN nurses, I think, have really recognized the needs. They've recognized the services that we're providing and seeing the value to them, and therefore they're supporting us in tremendous ways. I'm very excited about looking at an ADN Alumni Association because I think that cohort of people get so close as they go through school. You know, I can tell you from the other side of the foundation piece, when we lose somebody, lots of times it's through legacy gifts and memorials that we get brought back in. And we've had some real tragedies within our own nursing community. And 2 years ago, we lost one of our students, and she was 1 year past graduation. She was a full-time nurse, passed away on the job, and it was working with all of her friends and her cohorts, all of the people that she'd gone through the program with. And I think I heard about it before some of the college administration heard about it, just because it was the friends calling and saying, Jennifer, what are we going to do? How do we remember her? How do we grapple with this and get through this? And the only way they knew how was to provide a legacy gift. And they started a scholarship in her name and had a memorial service and announced it at the memorial service. And were able to fund an entire $10,000 endowed scholarship within the first year of her passing. It was just an amazing outreach from that community. And I think that really gives us a sense of how close those people get, how meaningful their time is together. I think on a personal level, I would just share a story. You know, your worst nightmare is finding yourself in a hospital at midnight, and the only thing worse than that is finding yourself in a hospital at midnight with something really bad going wrong. And I found myself in that situation, and after hours, and really we were in the past one hand's worth of hours of poking and prodding and trying to get an IV started so that we could fix what was going on with me. I had one nurse, and we had counted 48 sticks at this point to try and get an IV started. And this one nurse kept saying, Jennifer, you don't have to do what you don't want to do. And she kept patting my hand and trying to find that vein that was going to miraculously pop up in my hand. And she'd say, you know, I might have something in your arm here. Are you okay if I try again? And that young woman stuck with me the entire night. And it was probably close to 1 in the morning, and the surgeon had come in and said, we're just going to have to do it without the IV. And there were some dangers and some risks involved. And before she left, she looked at me and she said, just remember, you don't have to do what you don't want to do. She wasn't giving me medical advice, she was giving me human advice. And spoke with the surgeon, and we decided to move forward with the procedure. And she came back in to help prep and get ready. And I will never forget her looking down at me and saying, I don't know if you know this, but we're Facebook friends. I saw, oh my goodness, how would you even know that? I don't look like myself right now. There's nothing about me that looks like I look on Facebook. And she said, you do scholarships at the foundation. I was one of your scholarship recipients. I had no words, and I looked her in the eye and I just said, and this is what we paid for. Best investment payoff ever. And we ended up having a lovely conversation about her career and what she was doing, and I was so proud of her at that point. And I finally, after the procedure, I was put up in my room, and by the time I got wheeled up to my room, my phone jingled, and I had a Facebook message from this young woman, and she had written me probably the most profound letter I've ever received in my life, and it was 2 pages of telling me about strength and courage and independent decision making, and that there was no shame in sickness and no fear in weakness. And how she knew that was what my issues were, I don't know. It's because she's a good nurse. She got good training. But that girl changed my life. And I wrote her back at 2 o'clock that morning, and I said, I'm just going to tell you this. Nothing would make me grateful for what we did tonight. Nothing, except meeting you and the interaction that I've had with you. And because of what you've done and because of the outreach that you've given me, I am grateful that I spent 6 hours in the emergency room, and I am grateful for the 49 sticks, and I am grateful for the surgery. I'm grateful for everything that happened because of what you've given me in this letter and in your care over the last 6 hours. She was, I know, at least 2 hours past her shift that night. She had no business being there. She was tired, and I believe she'd worked a double, so she really had no business being there. But she had found a way to care, and she had found a way to let me know she cared. And there isn't a time now that I don't go into a hospital and ask where our nurses got their training. And it's always my favorites that were trained at Temple College. And I hate that I have as much interaction with them as I do, but I love that the interaction I have is what I have. And I will tell you, I live in a community with an exceptional healthcare resource in our community. But the piece in my mind that makes it exceptional is the nursing care that I have received through Scott and White in particular. And it's our Temple College nurses. I can tell them when they walk in the room, they have a confidence, they have a sense of belonging, they know what they're doing, they ask questions, they listen, they are true advocates. I've never had nursing staffs that are such advocates as our Temple College nurses. And that comes from their training. It comes from what our faculty are imparting to them and sharing with them. So I think as a user of their services, I'm grateful, and as a person who hopefully can provide some service to them, I'm glad that they're there, and I'm glad that we can hopefully fill some form of a need for them.